Villains. A tale as old as time, and the never-ending battle to protect truth and justice from those who thrive on chaos and bloodshed. Come with us as we peel back the mask on your beloved Crusaders of Light and dive deep into the dark and twisted abyss of the most feared and hated harbingers of doom. Follow your host, Power Maximus, and everyone's favorite demigod, Lord Triage, as they take a trip down the rabbit hole that is everything super. So, are you a hero or a villain? Either way, find that super suit and suit up for the Super Breakdown.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. What is this? What is this? Are we back? Is this the is this real life?
I think it is.
Triage, is that you? Is that you, Triage?
Yeah, power to me. Where you been,
Oh,
bro?
goddamn. A long time no see.
Right.
Oh, we back at it. We back at it, ladies and gentlemen. Low level sevens, we are back at it. Y'all thought we was gone. Y'all thought we wasn't gonna come back. Y'all thought we was just a passing fad. No, we here to stay. Welcome to the all-new season of the Super Breakdown. We're your hosts for the next 2 hours. If this is your first time tuning in, I'm the Red Wolf, Power Maximus, and the man in purple and black to my side is everyone's favorite arachnid demigod, Lord Triage. Say what's up to the people.
What it do?
Ah, man. So, for those of you who don't know, this podcast is for all things nerdy, superhero, and pop culture. So, every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I don't know what the conversion is for wherever you listen. Definitely look it up. Yes, we will be breaking down one or more characters from your favorite comic books, movies to discuss the origins, their current media, and you'll just get the heroes ramble on about what we would do if we was in charge of writing it. But yeah, we're back. We're here. We are here, and today we're here to put a shock to y'all system. If y'all haven't seen the post already, today we're talking about the man himself. Wow, I just realized I was listening to a few of our old podcasts. I say that a lot. The person himself. We're talking about Static Shock. Beat, gonna beat, Static Shock. Oh man, it feels good to be back. Just so you know, this podcast is brought to you by W Energy. Jitterless, crashless. This stuff is amazing. Tons of different flavors. They're dropping new flavors. They got some with caffeine, some without caffeine. Check it out. Links in the bio. When you guys go to purchase, definitely put in hashtag TSB 2023. The hashtag is important. The hashtag's in there. Hashtag TSB 2023. You can get yourself 10% off all your W orders for as long as we rock with W. This is also brought to you by Terramana because we all know, if you watched the show before, you know how I get off the Terramana. It's gonna be a good show. Yes. So, without further ado, LT, take it away.
Okay, so we have a little group by the name of milestone that we have to thank for this great character known as Virgil Hawking, Static Shock.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, by the way, Happy Black History Month, motherfucker.
Oh my God.
My bad. Sorry to interrupt, but yes, everyone, Happy Black History Month. We got a good month lined up for y'all here. Stay tuned. Sorry to interrupt. Just had to put that out there. My bad.
Nah, no worries.
Shout out to Milestone Comics, because you said Milestone Comics, and the first thing I thought, Black History. They are some of the before we get into Static, get into Milestone and who they are first.
So Milestone was a Black-owned, Black-based comic book company that was, I don't want to say a subsidiary, but they basically worked alongside DC, and then they published their material, but it was part of a separate universe known as the Dakotaverse.
Are you sure? I thought they started out separately, and then DC decided that they wanted to punch down on the black man, and started buying some of their characters from them.
Yeah, that happened
later.
That happened a little later on. Yes.
Oh, okay. My bad. All right. Now with this Dakotaverse, what is that?
So the Dakotaverse was basically its own entity that was set up within this. It was set up within the state of Dakota. So basically, think of it like the DC universe. If the DC universe only took place inside one state, except all of these characters were Black from the inner city and had to deal with their own issues.
As they should be.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
This is the story. This is the company that gave us such characters like Rocket and Icon, that gave us characters like Hardware, and our beloved Static Shock. Now, not to go off completely off base real quick, but just to elaborate with some of these characters, you had a character like Icon, who was an alien who crash landed on the planet during slavery at that, American slavery, and wound up taking the shape of one of the first things he saw was a worker in the field taking the form of a black male.
Oh shit. See, now that I didn't know.
Right?
But I find that kind of interesting. Sorry to get for even further off space, but I find that pretty interesting because Icon is like, his character is so like hardcore type pro America and shit.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. No, we're not going there. Not enough Terramana yet. Not going there. I'll touch on it later.
So
no Terramana.
So Icon actually had to blend in and had to. I don't want to say pass. I wanted to say that he had to conform to the times in order to wait for in order to wait for the technology to catch up to the time he needed, and that way he could use said materials to get off the planet. Because since we were so much behind his species and where we were in technology, he had to wait for technology to evolve in order for it to suit his needs to repair his ship.
Okay. So is Black Lightning DC or Milestone?
Black Lightning was DC.
Okay. So they're like, oh, they got a character Statis Shock that's black that has lightning powers. Let's make our own character that's black with lightning powers.
Oh, hold on. We'll touch on that stereotype in a bit, because that's a whole own cup of tea that we'll talk about in a moment. But another character I wanted to talk about real quick was a character by the name of Hardware. Now, Hardware was this brilliant inventor who had made all these type of high tech gadgets in order to fight crime, but the crime that he had necessarily had that he was taking out was a corrupt industry that had fired him and stole his research. Now, and we actually see the gentleman that he worked for in the Static Shock cartoon. Oh,
Who's that?
I'm drawing a blank on his name. It was the one guy. He like basically owned the company that made the gas for the Big Bang.
Shit. I literally just watched it too. Oh man, he's a white guy. Of course, all the villains are a white guy with like straight all white hair. It was like slick back or whatever. Ah shit. I literally, man, I literally just
Edwin Alba.
watched it too. There you go, Alba.
Yeah. So it's like he basically wound up having to take on like corporate America in that kind of sense for for the having to actually have to take back the rights of his own material. So that I thought was really cool.
Now, we have recently seen a resurgence of Milestone. They're kind of like trying to take a stand and pretty much build back the ground that they lost when it came to after everything happened with DC. We're starting to see them take a step back. They just recently had a whole I think in 2022 that a whole giant like creators contest or whatever, and they're just like, go make characters, make stories, send them in, black characters, black artists, black everything, and like so we're gonna be seeing a lot more Milestone within the next few years. I see it coming big time. Now, where does Static Shock come in? Now many of us who've seen the show know how the show portrays its origin, but how different is the show's origin compared to his comic book origin?
Well, here's the thing with that, because it was recently actually got a revamp. So if you want to go off the revamp, and the revamp I actually thought was really interesting because they fit it so it was more into modern day. So if you watch, so if you had watched the cartoon, you know that Static got his powers because well, I don't want to say a gang fight, but that's basically what it was.
It was a gang fight. Yeah.
It
wasn't
two rivals.
Two. It was multiple. It was multiple. It wasn't just two. It was so from if I remember from what Wade said, so Wade was kind of like this so first off, we're introduced to Virgil Hawkins. He, inner city school kid, he's super smart, super nerdy, he gets bullied a lot. But this one guy seems to protect him all the time, whose name was Wade. Wade happens to be the leader of the gang that resides in that area. Pretty much that's their turf. So eventually Wade gets tired of protecting. I just kind of took this away from you. My bad. My bad. Okay, so I'll give the show's origin, and then we can compare and contrast the differences there. So Wade gets tired of saving Virgil's ass and says, "You know what? I'm tired of saving your ass. You're gonna have to start giving back. Meet me here. Do this, blah blah blah. You roll with us now." He's like, "All right." All the gangs is about to get together for a big ass turf war. Meet us over here. They get there. Everybody's fighting. Virgil's like, I don't want to really fuck with that. Ends up the bully that always wants to fight him, is the leader of a rival gang, shows up. So they start fighting. The police show up. Why they decide that they want to shoot a grenade? Like it's like rocket launched tear gas into the middle of the fight from a helicopter, which make no goddamn sense to me. Them police was on some extra shit, but when aren't they? So this can of tear gas that gets rocket launched into this fight ends up hitting a big ass like pile of radioactive and chemical canisters, which ends up getting the term called the Big Bang or the Bang. Over the course, after everyone disperses, blah blah blah, mad people went to the hospital. Over the course of like a few days, they start noticing that the people that were a part of this gang fight all end up mutating and getting special powers. Which this is where Virgil ends up finding out that he has the power of static electricity and just lightning electricity in general. As many other, again, we'll touch on it later. I'm sorry, that the fact that that's a thing pisses me off, but we'll get into that in a second. So with that being his cartoon, let's go back to his original comic. Do you know his original comic book like adaptation origin?
So it was pretty similar to the point where there was an altercation between rival groups, and then the police got involved, which led to the Big Bang and the chemicals being released, and then that creating what were called then Bang Babies for anyone who gained their ability from smoke. Now, the revamp made it so that Virgil was actually attending a public protest.
Ooh.
When things went sideways, and then the canisters were released, and then that's how it came about. So I thought that was a little bit more cooler, to a point where, opposed to it being a situation born out of violence. Well, not so much violence, but
gang activity.
Yes.
I like that because also it paints black people in a better light that way. Granted, though, they also did have to go with what was going on at the time, and in the show, and that's what was going on, because the Milestone writers, they wrote about pretty much the shit that was going on around them, and at the time, which riots, gang violence was super heavy back then, super heavy, even into the early 2000s. The show Static Shock came out in 2000. So 2000 was heavy with gang violence. So that makes sense with the revamp, going with more modern day. Honestly, the modern day struggles of black people, like I like that a lot better. I most definitely like that a lot better, because it really puts a spotlight on the shit that we have to go through now. Now we're not fighting each other no more. I mean, some places still are, but for the overarching, we're fighting against the government, man. Revolution would not be televised type shit now. Back again. So I really fucked with that. I didn't know that. Is this the revamp where like he has a whole new costume now too?
Yes.
It was like black, and he has like the white X, and he's wearing like the fitted cap with the black X on it.
Yes. Actually,
okay.
the fitted cap actually goes back to the original look, because he actually didn't have locks when he first was drawn. So he had like the more form-fitting face mask, and then he had that on top of it.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, I fucks with that. Paying homage to the original art style, as well as also giving it a more modern and fresh feel to it. Now let's get into this a little deeper now. We go from his origins to the Status Shock TV series. Now again, I just recently started rewatching it. I watched it way back when it was still, Saturday morning cartoons type shit. So let's get into that. Where does it go from here? We find out that first off, I wanna say like how much, if you haven't watched this show, you need to go back and you need to watch this show. It's on HBO Max. If you don't got Max, get Max, or watch it on whatever you can watch it on. The events that some of the events that happen in this show are pretty fucking epic, as well as, how do I say it, some of the stories that happen in these episodes are pretty fucking deep. And I'm pretty sure you know what episode I'm talking about as well.
Yes. If we're talking about
him,
the episode with the bully.
there's the bully, but then there's also his Virgil's first time meeting his boy's family.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So this show touches on racism, touches on sexism, touches on misogyny. They even go back and touch on a lot of African folklore as well, which I know for a fact that's your favorite episode.
Yes, yeah.
Episode of Nancy. But yeah, and then on top of that, just like family values as well. You know, the going back and forth between his father being old school. Um, his father's character reminded me a lot of Martin Luther King in a way.
He was definitely drawn to look like him.
Oh hell, he damn near look just like him.
Well, also, the whole thing with his dad being a single father because his wife was killed, because she was an EMT, and she was killed from rival fire during a riot.
And I remember in the first episode they touched on that. What was his friend's name? Reg or some shit like that.
Richie.
Richie. You know, and that's one of the things that Richie says is like, dude, really, you're really gonna fuck around and hang out with these dudes when your mom was killed in gang violence? And I was like, oh, well, shit, they're coming out the gate with it, swinging.
Yeah.
This show was also not afraid to show actual guns and actual gunfire.
A young kid was getting bullied at school, bought his dad's weapon, winds up going to shoot his bully, accidentally shoots Richie. Yeah, like, nah, this shit was different.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. That shit was crazy. Now, I don't know, like now after a while we end up getting introduced to the main antagonist of the show, Shadow. And
Oh, you're talking about E-Bomb.
E-Bomb.
Yes.
E-Bomb. Bro. That motherfucker is gangster. He's one of my favorite antagonists just because he was with the shits, bro. He was a real fucking gangster, dude. Sorry, I had to take a sip there. Like from the way that he talked, like, bro, do me a favor. See if you can find out who his voice actor was. Do you know who his voice actor was? Because his voice actor, like, it didn't sound like he was acting. Like, it didn't sound like he was acting at all. Like, he was real smooth with it. Like, hey, yo, either you down with us or you're not, hero. Let's see what you're really about, son. Like, he was gangsta as shit.
For like no reason.
Like, I wouldn't even say for no reason, but for a kid's show, that squad, like the Bang Babies, his team was pretty fucking solid. Like, there was no one that was really like hesitant. You had Ebon, you had Talon, Hot Streak ends up joining, and then I can't remember the name of the dude. His power was that he could turn his hands into anything he wanted.
Oh, I think it was Shiv.
Shiv. And Talon, and bro, first off, I just want to point out the diversity with this as well.
It was
like they all were.
The actor's name was Gary Anthony Sturgis.
I gotta look him up because that nigga was gangster and shit. Did not sound like he was like actually like acting at all. Like, and then Talon, she was Latina, Shiv was Asian, and Hot Streak was a white guy. So I feel like that's such a dope ass melting pot because Ebon, he black, not
Well,
even,
he
not
black
even,
black.
not even, yeah, he black. Ebon's ability and power was he pretty much was a shadow, and he had the ability to manipulate and control the shadows. He could like teleport people within his shadow and shit like that. So you got Ebon who's black, Talon who's Latina, you got Shiv who's Asian, and you got Hot Streak who's a white guy. So like that team, that whole squad right there, and they were all with the smoke too. Every last one of them was with the smoke. And like I feel like it really like the show really shined a light on what happens when you give the outcasts power.
Yeah.
When you give the people that have been shitted on by society, by their town, even shitted on by their own people for so long, when you finally give them power. You know what I mean? All that bent up anger, resentment, rage, and revenge finally manifesting itself. And you see it a lot in Talon. Talon's she's with the shits. She's ready. You look at her wrong, she's about to take your face off. Shiv, he's like a fucking daredevil. Like he's ready for the smoke. Anything wild and crazy, and he's ready for it. Hot Streak, he just wants to blow shit up.
Yeah, he was the definition of a pyromaniac.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, and then Ebon, he was calm, cool, collected. Oh my god. Like the character reminds me of RIP my boy, old boy from The Wire with
Omar.
the scar. Omar. Yup. With the scar. Yeah, he passed away last year?
Yes.
Yeah, because he did the tribute for DMX, and then like he passed away like a month later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like he reminds me of every character that he's ever played before. He's smart, he's calm, he's collected. You know, he moves silently. Nobody knows what his next move is gonna be. While you over there talking, working on this thing about this, he's plotting his own shit in the background, and you don't know until it's time to strike. Like the villains in this show were so fucking dope and so fucking gangster, and I appreciate it so much because the characters felt real. You know what I mean? They didn't feel like they were made up just for the show. They felt like they were based off of real people. You know, and the same thing goes for Static himself. The same thing goes for Virgil himself. You know, he's a young black kid who's torn between, you know, doing doing what's right, living up to his family values, but also like the struggle of, yo, this shit's hard. Can I just put them down? You know, so I'm like, this show did a lot. Like when I watching this show, I felt seen.
Mm.
I felt heard. I don't know. That's just me. What do you think?
I think it was so different because there was nothing like else on at the time, and the fact that they actually
Mm-hmm.
made it fit in to the broader DC animated universe. So it ties in with Batman animated series, ties in with Superman animated series, with Justice League Unlimited, and the fact that you saw this
Batman
whole other
Beyond.
side. Yeah, Batman Beyond, because that crossover, you had that, you had that, and then you had to see this whole other side of the DC universe where, and here's the wild part. Out of everyone who got infected, there's only actually a handful of people who were like, yo, I actually want to do something about this. And it's like most people who got their powers either wound up giving them up or walking away from this. And Virgil was actually one of the few people who was like, nah, this is my city. Like, I'm not jacking it. Shit's not gonna just run rampant. Like, he actually felt like a legitimate responsibility to help with shit. And like very few of the other characters were like that.
Yeah, that was like his first instinct. As soon as he realized he had powers, Richie was like, "Yo, you can be a superhero." He was like, "I can't be a superhero!" Like instantly, immediately. So I found that really really dope. Um, and again, I feel I can't even say that. I feel like it goes back to the idea of like us policing ourselves, taking
Yeah,
accountability for each other and holding each other accountable for our actions.
I like that.
So, yeah, and I feel like that's something. I feel like that's something that's sorely lacking in reality when it comes to And this is gonna get a little controversial. You don't like it, by all means, jump to another stream if you like. Um, but I feel like that's something that's very much so sorely lacking in our culture right now, with holding people accountable, looking and finding the things that are poisoning our youth and getting rid of it, uplifting ourselves, policing our own communities, taking a look at taking a look at the city in which we live in and being like, you know what? Nah, I have the power to make a change. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna step up and I'm gonna get this shit under control because this is where I live. It's not just gonna better me, but it's gonna better the people around me, the people that I love. It's gonna better the children as well, which is gonna create a better future. And I feel like our 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 culture, we've been well, our people, we've definitely been getting better at it, but to me is there's still a lot to be desired in that aspect of things. um I feel like this show really 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 put the spotlight on yeah, hell, we the people, we the black people, we this is our community, this is where we live. Let's not like you know what I mean.
I definitely agree.
I don't know. I couldn't really find like the best way to say that. Um, but yeah, I
Well,
feel like this show speaks of shit on a deeper level than
it
just a cartoon.
it's always been one of those things like, that goes back to the 60s with the Panthers. Now they said, they wanted black police for a black neighborhood, but it's also one of those things like, you can only do so much in those situations because, you don't want to be labeled a rat, you don't want to be labeled a snitch, you're turning against your own kind and all these other quote unquote labels that you get stuck with. But it's also one of
Mm-hmm.
the things like,
Mm-hmm.
and I've actually had to butt heads with a few of my friends about this type of stuff. Like, yo, I have a strong moral compass. If I feel you do something that's fucked up, like I should be able to tell you that shit's fucked up, and then we can all agree there's just certain shit that should just never happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This idea of I am my brother's keeper. Because if we're not gonna hold each other and ourselves up to a certain level of integrity, then the rest of our people are gonna fall as well. We got to be able to speak out against. I feel like we're so quick to speak out against all the social injustices that are done unto us. But as soon as we go to speak out against our own people who are serving the similar unjust things to us and to our own people, like you know you want to, and again, this is going to get real controversial. So if you're not, if you don't want to get into it, you don't want to hear it, that's completely fine. To each his own. We respect everyone for thoughts and beliefs. But I just feel like it's fucked up where, you know, a lot of us are quick to put the target on, let's say, a cop's back for arresting a black man for this, and that. But why are you not kicking the ass of the dude that's selling fucking 10-year-old teenagers crack, you know, on the corner? Why are you not cracking down on the drug dealers? No, 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 no. I'm not talking about cannabis. I'm not talking about cannabis. I'm talking about the hard shit, the crack, the cocaine, the fentanyl, the meth. You know, no one's cracking down. We're so quick to get on. Oh shit! Pull the camera out. The cops beating that black man's ass, but not. Oh shit! Yo, we need to get this nigga up off our corner because he's standing in front of his bodega selling kids drugs. You know what I mean? That's the kind of accountability that I see in Static Shock. It's you not you know, nobody is going to be degrading my town, my people, not even my own people. We stand for something, or you know, you either stand for something or you fall for anything type shit. Mm. Sorry, a little bit of Power Farrakhan coming out.
I know. I'm wrong with that.
You know, so this like, everyone loves this show, but I feel like they love the show for it at face value, for it being a good show. You know, I don't really feel like a lot of people had, you know, sat down and really looked at the deeper stories that are being told within the show, the deeper lessons and the deeper messages that are supposed to be taken away from this show. No, that's just how I feel. That's just how I feel.
Well, one of the issues that we've had, especially since the year started, is like, you know, you had to look at I'm not gonna say anyone's name, but a certain individual, you know, kind of shed light on a lot of what fuckery that's been going on for God knows how many years when it comes to the way certain people are portrayed in media, music, and general content.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
so at some point in time, we got to look at, you know, the shit that we're being force fed to swallow, and instead of, you know, willingly taking it, sometimes you got to step back and be like, yeah, I can't co-sign this, or yeah, I can't get behind this, or yeah, I don't care for this portrayal of this. And it's like, we talk about certain shows, like I'm very confused how we went from shit like fucking Family Matters to Empire. I'm very confused to how we went from a Lauryn Hill and Aaliyah to a Cardi B, Ice Spice.
Major Stallion. Oh god damn, that's worse. Yeah.
So like we keep talking about this whole narrative of this thing that Black America's being force fed, and it's like the idea of what you're supposed to be and how you're supposed to carry yourself, if it doesn't fit into this little narrow window, you know, you're an oddball, or you're different, or you're weird. And it's like how the negative imagery that we've been fed for so long is so ridiculous. I don't think anyone's truly realized it till recently. Like,
I most definitely agree. Well, more so, I feel like it's not that it's been realized recently, is it that there's people that are willing, like Virgil, willing to take that stand and actually and speak out on it. Like, yo, why are we why do we have people like Bad Baby, the Catch Me Outside chick, getting popular off of being a royal bitch? Why do we have our black women getting popular off of, you know, shaking their ass and this and that. Yeah, yet, which and this is something else that really pisses me off. That we have black women, let's say, we're talking about Ice Spice, Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, fucking Meg Thee Stallion. These black women who are highly intelligent, that are out here doing more than just rap and shaking ass, actually doing business behind the scenes, but they only show the one side of it because that's what's popular and that's what we have been accepting. And this is where and this is what I love so much about the Status Shot show. They weren't having that shit. They weren't having that shit in that show. I remember not once did I see not one. Of course, it's a kids show, but for a kids show, it had a lot of serious tones for a kids show. A lot of serious tones for a kids show. The first episode, fucking Wade hands Virgil a gun. Off rip. They're already talking about gun violence and gang violence. Off rip.
And like what some people will do for acceptance and feel like they have a place to belong.
Exactly, and that's exactly where I was taking this. The show really touched on, and just in the first episode alone, of what people will do to fit in and feel like they're accepted, and that's something that our world and our culture has fallen deep into. Oh, this is what I got to do to be accepted. This is what I got to do to be dope. This is what I zero integrity, and that's what I feel Virgil and Static Shock represents. Black integrity. We talk about black excellence a lot and all the time. But what about black integrity? Damn, that got deep real fast. I got deep real fast.
Well, I think this is also one of the reasons why the material has stayed where it has, because outside of the cartoon, the comic, like for example, and this is one of those things where I'm a little confused, like with the following this character has, and this is a character that most people only know from 2000s, early 2000s from the cartoon, but this is a character that's been around since the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like who's been a staple of his whole own universe. Like, where's his television series? Where's his movie? Where's his action figures?
Mm-hmm. And that's
And it's like
that's something I feel like I feel like that's something I feel like that's a ball that Black Lightning dropped.
now see, this is also a hold on. So this is a different separate issue that we're going to kick real quick, because this is the thing you were bringing up earlier. One of the many issues that they've been having in DC Comics is that they have a very bad habit of giving the black character electric based abilities. We've seen it from Black Vulcan to Black Lightning to Static Shock to Juice to listen. It's a reoccurring theme that really needs to get done away with. For whatever reason, they keep doing it. Now,
and
here's the wild part: a lot of these characters that we see, they're not weak. They're not necessarily corny. It's like, I thought Black Lightning had phenomenal potential. I think the flaw with Black Lightning was, and this is just my opinion, I think they made Jefferson just a little too old.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they also missed their mark as well, because the reason why they did that was because the show was supposed to be about Jefferson's retirement and Thunder and Lightning taking up the mantle, but they just never really allowed Thunder and Lightning to take the forefront of the show. Because that's what the show was originally supposed to be about. Because remember, when we first see him, he's retired.
Right.
You know what I mean? If they would have wrote the show where, like, maybe the first 2-3 episodes, we see him in the suit and him having to get back into it and just this and that. But as soon as the girls start showing off their powers and abilities, the show should have transitioned into him being the man in the chair, the one behind the scenes, guiding them and showing and teaching them how to be heroes, teaching them how to be black heroes. And that includes Static Shock. That includes, like, I feel like that was the perfect time for them to bring in Static Shock. They could have easily, changed up his origin a little bit. I would have accepted him changing his origin to fit the origin of all the other metahumans in that city. I would have been definitely okay with that. But as long as they brought him in, because again, you got 3 characters with lightning based abilities. You already overdid it. You already overdid it. Why not just throw the fourth? Throw the fourth in there. At least for a cameo. At least for a cameo. Oh, sorry if you guys can hear the sirens. My bad. Inner city type shit. But yeah, I feel like they definitely missed their mark with that. But again, agreed.
Now,
black characters have enlightened abilities. They gotta veer away from that shit a little bit more, because it's starting to get a little out of hand.
but here's my thing, and this is the wild part, is that if you watched The Gifted, if you watched Heroes, you've seen characters who can manipulate electricity, who can levitate, who can do all these things. And it's like, if they were to put a Static Shock show on TV right now, let it be like, I'd say more the second, third season of Black Lightning with that similar, that kind of a similar tone. It doesn't necessarily have to fit into like the rest of the DC stuff, because, the DC the Arrowverse, I almost said the animated verse, the Arrowverse is like over. So it's like they could let it be its completely whole own entity, let Virgil deal with legitimate issues that plague the inner city, whether it be redlining or drug dealing or whatever the case may be. And then it's like, have it just go from there. And it's like, my only question is, like, once again, like, who would you have play Virgil Hawkins? Because there's really no person on top of my head who I can think of that I would have play that part.
Honestly, what's his name? Caleb? I can't remember his last name. From the black kid from Stranger Things.
What?
I feel like he's young enough, and he can play a timid enough. He looks young enough, and I feel like he can play a timid enough character. Because, I mean, he has some decent acting credits. I mean, shit. What was on top of Stranger Things? He has Concrete Cowboys. He was in that as well. And again, that was definitely inner city stuff. It's about pretty much there's a certain, I forget where, but there's actually a group of black people who still live by the old school cowboy shit. They ride horses through the city, cowboy hats, all of that. They're like their own community and shit. But he also has a few other acting credits underneath his belt too. I feel like he could rock it. To be honest, I'm glad they didn't have Jaden do that because yeah, I'm very glad they didn't have him do that.
Whoa.
Because remember they were going to. He either had all right. So if memory serves me correctly, the entire reason why Will Smith took
Talk about Bruno. No.
but no, if we're gonna talk about the reason why Will Smith took the role of Deadshot was because Jaden was supposed to be Static because they were going to do a Static Shock film, but Jaden backed out. Thank God, because I feel like I don't feel like he could have pulled that shit off at all. All he had going for him was the locks at the time, and that was it. But I don't know. Who would you have?
There's really no young actor who comes to my mind at this point in time. And it's like in my mind, like Static's also in my mind like 16. So it's like
Yeah,
I think
I agree. So like when we first meet Static in the show, I feel like he's like 16, and then by season 4, he's like 18.
so. It's like that's another thing too. Like he was going through high school, so we could do the whole, Tom Holland thing where he's the young guy trying to figure it out who's supposed to be coming. Like our luck, we'd get him not the established character on his own. We get him trying to be the next Black Lightning. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely,
Like
absolutely.
oh, he's trying to fill this person's shoes. And then with our luck, that's what would happen, opposed to him figuring things out, him building his own network and then having his own way of doing things. Now, I'm not saying he needs to be like full dirty Harry, but it's like he needs to let it be known, like, nah, the Dakota is my playground. Anyone wants my position permission, they gotta come, they gotta ask me.
Yeah, I agree, but I feel like he does have to have some kind of idol though, because in the show he idolized Batman.
No, it was John Stewart.
Oh, it was John Stewart.
He said,
And because I remember in the episode where when he actually teams up with Batman to fight Joker.
he said, Batman, can someone tell me what kind of a world we live in where a man dressed up as a bat steals all my press? This
But yeah, even then, right there, that would be perfect as well, and it would be a perfect way for them to, name drop the Green Lantern because God knows they're still fucking around on that. They're still sitting there with the dick in their hand on that one. And that pisses me off. God, don't get me started on that. That pisses me off. That pisses me off so much. It's not that hard to do a Green Lantern. Come on, like, all right. Granted, Ryan Reynolds wasn't a great Hal Jordan. It wasn't a great Green Lantern. But in my eyes, I feel like it's a start. In my eyes, I feel like it's a good start. They need to take that and build and pretty much build off of that to get where they want to go.
I don't
You know what I mean?
I don't know if I can co-sign that statement.
I feel like again, like I said, there was a lot wrong with that. There was a lot wrong with that. A lot of people didn't like his suit. I thought it looked cool. I thought the suit looked cool. I just felt like the CGI, like having it CGI'd on him, I felt like the CGI could have been way better. But as in design wise, I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was unique. But again, they definitely they could definitely build off. They can definitely build off it and make it better, way better. Like, don't get me wrong, Ryan Reynolds is a goofy motherfucker. So any movie he's in, you can 100% guarantee the movie's gonna be goofy.
Well, that's not true. I thought Smoking Aces was had a good sense a good sense of humor. Now it wasn't necessarily goofy, but he wasn't also just the main character. So
Okay, yeah. Granted, but again, there's always going to be some level of comedy when you're watching a movie with Ryan Reynolds, whether it be straight laugh out loud comedy, straight goofiness, or subtle dry humor that fits within a serious situation. So I feel like with that movie, what happened was they try to cater the movie to the actor instead of the actor, catering to the script and to the film itself. You know what I mean? I feel like with Jon Stewart, if they went Jon Stewart storyline, but even then, Hal Jordan, none of Hal Jordan's storylines were that lighthearted.
yeah.
They were not that lighthearted.
Well, once again, that was one of those mixtures with the issues because at the end of the day, Hal Jordan's a beat cop, so it's like he didn't give off that. He's always been a very serious character, so to have Ryan Reynolds have this whole nonchalant attitude about everything going on around him, that's not the character.
Exactly, exactly. So I feel like if they use Static Shock, they can use Static Shock to build into what kind of character they want Jon Stewart to be. Jon Stewart's a serious character. He's a very serious character. You know what I mean? And I feel like that would fit perfectly in a world of with Static Shock's world, which is it's serious. He has gang violence, he has drug dealing and stuff, and everything in between.
Right.
So I again, I definitely agree with you. I feel like the hard part about bringing Static Shock to live action would be finding a good actor. It would most definitely be finding a good actor that can play Virgil Hawkins accurately without it being goofy. But all right. So my biggest problem with Black Lightning, at least season 1, was that it was way too it was way too centered around the social issues and the societal issues and the pragmatic usage of him being and him trying to deal with those issues outside of the suit rather than us seeing him handle those situations in the suit.
Well, but this is all those things like where you have a generation that gets told, turn your, hug thy neighbor, forgive your rapist, all that other shit. So it's like that's one of the big things with that. And the other thing I also like to point out is I hear what you're saying with that, but it's like you got to look at the times. You got to look at what was going on in the country, like from a lot of social issues going on that didn't necessarily needed to be handled by force, and there are some that did. So I think they were trying to toe the balance. Like we were talking about the whole thing with American Gods. Like they went from anger, get shit done, to we shall overcome.
Mm. True. Well, but here's my thing with Black Lightning. The way they should have did it was they could have did it that way, but have him be more so in the suit as a pillar of unitement. You know what I mean? I know that's not a word, but have the people unite around the idea of Black Lightning, integrity, us holding each other accountable, you know what I mean, for our actions and stuff like that. That's what I feel the route they should have taken as them rallying around Black Lightning and using him as a pillar of not just justice but social justice and integrity. You know what I mean? Like, wow, Black Lightning, he's for the people. He's he's a person that wants the best for his people. So let's all be more like Black Lightning and band together in order to stop the drugs, the gang violence. You know what I mean? What was the name of the gang? The 100?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, instead of it just being Black Lightning taking on the 100, they should have wrote it as the people uniting around the ideology of Black Lightning and have the city itself, the people unite together in order to stop the 100. Instead of go ahead.
There's two reasons I think that wouldn't have worked. One, you had to remember that he had been retired for X amount of years, so a lot of people weren't even initially happy he was back. Remember the one preacher was like he couldn't tell whether he was on the side of the righteous or on the side of the corrupt.
No, yep.
And the other part is that that whole thing with the stance against the gang members and the violence, that all sounds good, but it's like you got all these kids who were dealt shitty hands, not making no excuses. Lord knows I'm not. And then you have the actual other legitimate people who were involved in shit that was going on. Like, who was the one kid that worked for Lala that ran up on his daughter and sprayed her with paint?
Shit, I can't even remember. I haven't watched it in so long.
He was like little. He was like in grade school, so Jefferson had to put him in detention. He could have picked that by his ears and been like, "You tell your boss that if he even remotely looks at my daughter, nigga."
Which is wild because honestly, that's most definitely what I would have done. I definitely would have picked him up by his pinky toes and hung him in front of the school as a fucking reminder.
They said all the time that he was like Black Jesus, and that Freeland was Freeland School was a fucking was neutral territory. He had an understanding with everyone for years, but it's like, nigga, that sounds good. But what were you actually going to do in the event that shit got violated? What could he do? Jefferson Pierce couldn't do a fucking thing. He come in amongst them niggas to the point where they had.
Yeah, I feel like, and I guess that's also my other problem that I have with Black Lightning. I don't know. I guess with Black Lightning, I was looking for more superhero. At least we get that later. But I was looking for more superhero than Jefferson Pierce.
Looking for more urban crusader.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to take a quick minute to thank everyone that's watching right now. And I definitely want to point out this conversation is definitely getting a little controversial. If you are not ready for the controversial, we completely understand if you switch to a different stream. We completely understand. But if you got something to say, by all means, jump into the comments, say your piece, put your 2 cents in, because we definitely want to hear what y'all got to say. Thank you all for watching. Whether you're watching on Kick, whether you're watching on Twitch, whether you're watching on Facebook, whether you're watching on YouTube, we appreciate you guys. Thank you. And if you're just tuning in, we are talking about Static Shock. We're definitely going off on some tangents. If you popped in, you caught us on a tangent. Right now we're currently talking about how they could accurately and respectfully bring Static Shock into the live action without falling flat on its face. And also, right now we're comparing certain shit that they did in Black Lightning, certain things that they can carry over into a Static Shock live action, and certain things maybe they shouldn't bring over into certain things that they should steer away from. Just now we were talking about pretty much, I guess I was when Black Lightning premiered, like you said, I was looking for more like the Urban Crusader, style of a show, which for the first like the first season we really didn't get that. The rest of the seasons we most definitely did. We most definitely did get that a lot. Definitely shout out to Midnight Comics. Thank you guys for reacting. Love reacting. We love you guys. We'll look forward to have you guys on the show again soon. But yeah, no, I just feel like if we do get Static Shock, I personally would like to see more of Urban Crusader style. You know what I mean? Less of how can I handle this outside of the suit, more how do I handle it within the suit. You know what I mean? Because before watching Black Lightning, I didn't know who the fuck Jefferson Pierce was. I had no clue that's who his real identity was. So I guess that's probably what threw me off, not having more knowledge about the character when it started. But I feel like if they would have geared it if they would have played it out the way that they originally looked like they were going to play it out, which is again, like I said earlier, having Jefferson being the man in a chair, teaching his daughters how to be superheroes and shit like that.
But see, I think him teaching them on the fly was better in that regard, because that's just like how Oliver was teaching Mia, his daughter, when she came back in time. Now he's giving her pointers on how to shoot and everything like that. There is no better teacher than experience, and then you getting taught in real time. And it's also like, let's look at the aspects of his kids. Like Jennifer saw a whole nother universe where she was a whole villain.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then Anissa already had that whole political civil advocate, civil activist by any means necessary.
Civil rights activist. Yeah.
So it's like she'd have got herself in trouble if it wasn't for some actual refined tutelage. And even shit she did after she was fully trained, he still didn't agree with it. Shit, she was robbing drug dealers using that shit to pay her rent. Gangsta shit.
Agreed, but I feel like yeah, gangsta shit. But I feel like that would be perfect though, because it would have been, all right, them talking over the comms. All right, old head, that's probably how it worked when you were riding in a suit, but that's not how things are today. So we would have been able to get a good back and forth between, old school Black Lightning, how things used to be back in the day, as opposed to how superheroes got a superhero these days type shit. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like that would have been a nice little back and forth, but also at the same time, also be able to get him in their ear, like, he says go left, they go right, and ends up fucking something up, and hear him in the back. See, told you, this is why we do this. This is why you do that. Blah 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 blah. All right, got you. I hear you. Whatever, whatever. All right, but now look at this. This is how you got to do it nowadays. Type shit.
Mm-hmm.
I personally feel like there should have been a better balance between young and old hero within that, and I feel like that's something that they would be able to easily at least modernize if they were to bring Static into live action again, still with the struggle of finding a good actor to portray Virgil Hawkins. But still, they would be able to, we'll be able to see, we could see him struggle from the at the beginning. You know what I mean? The first season, see him struggling, trying to figure out how to do it on his own. Him and Richie trying to figure out blah blah blah, so on and so forth. I did like the fact that he did eventually give Richie a more front standing role. Because didn't we end up finding out that he himself actually was
a big baby also?
Yeah, I don't remember how he ended up getting the powers, because I don't remember how that part of the story played out. Do you remember? I don't.
So Richie basically started to create Virgil's gear as he was going along superheroing, and he developed little things for him, like the shock jocks, so they could communicate. He created a lot of Virgil's gear, and then like all of a sudden he starts creating things that are completely his wheelhouse. Fucking artificial intelligence, fucking skates that allow him to defy gravity, all kinds of wild shit.
Mm-hmm.
Solving math problems to like the umpteenth power. Like it is like, this smart a month ago, what happened? And he was like, I just feel like my brain's just boom, boom, boom. It's just constantly going. So Virgil's like, I think you're turning into a bang baby. And he's like, how? I wasn't even at you. Or with me after. He was like, am I cool to the stuff? And he's like, and then on top of that, if you did study my gear, am I even studying my powers? Like, who's to say that Virgil wasn't reeking the material off of his pores, and he just inhaled it?
All right, yeah, all right, that makes sense. Because again, like I said, I'm definitely. So I recently. What episode did we watch? And I recently rewatched. Spawn. So in Gargoyles and everything. So I'm going back and rewatching all these shows. So trust and believe. After the show, I'm gonna finish rewatching all of Static. Which I think that would be cool as well. Again, you see, in the first season, we'll see, the same thing as the show. We'll see him and Richie just really figuring out how to do shit. Richie in the background, giving him pointers and stuff like that. But again, it'll be nice to see maybe later on, like, maybe season 2 or season 3, see him actually get an older mentor, to come in and help him out and shit like that. I would love to see a live action Anansi. That would be fucking lovely.
Why? So they can fire Orlando Jones again?
Oh, it's wild because I wasn't even thinking about him. I was thinking that. Let's see. I don't know who would be really, really good in that role.
Anger gets shit done.
I know it's wild, and I know it's like fucking like it'll be wild. Fucking Keith David.
Oh my god. But no, that does actually happen now that I think about it in Young Justice, because we do see a version of Static Shock Virgil Hawkins in Young Justice.
Mm-hmm. Which really sucks that they didn't like, we see him what we see him throughout the we see him in the invasion. The invasion saga. We see him like we see a cameo of him in the invasion saga, but then we get to see more of him and his little squad that he had in the whole season with the Beetle. But they just didn't. I don't know. I feel like they didn't capitalize. They didn't capitalize.
Well, I think it's one of those things that they mentioned a character, and I thought they were going to go the whole Deathstorm angle, and that was going to be the thing. Like, they're going to tie that in with the whole thing they were doing with the Flash, but that's not what happened. So,
yeah. No, there was definitely they definitely dropped the ball on that. But maybe it was also a rights issue too.
Well, yeah, because I remember he comes up to him and after he sees Black Lightning sees him use his powers, and he goes, you're pretty. He's like, you're pretty good, Virgil. He's like, if you ever need a tutor, you let me know. And he's like, oh, really? And then it cuts off of them and goes back to the fight.
Yeah, I think because he's never actually called Static. We don't see we don't see him in full costume ever. We only see him backwards cap with the locks, t-shirt, pants, jeans, sneakers, still riding on a what was it? It was a trash can lid.
Manhole cover.
Oh yeah, it was a manhole cover in Young Justice. But yeah, I feel like there was a they left a lot on the table when it came to him in Young Justice. Granted, I get they're like he wasn't a main character. They probably weren't planning on bringing him into the main continuity of Young Justice, but I would at least like to see a little bit more of that. Or at least it looked like they were setting up for like a spin-off. You know what I mean? Have it be within the same world. And then James Gunn came along and now he's kind of fucked everything up. Everything got canceled, everything got fucking torn down. Shaking my head. Shaking my fucking head. I feel like in my mind it's like all you had to do was follow the train, CJ. If it's not broke, don't fix it, man. The animated shit was fine. All you needed to do was follow the train, CJ. Make it better live action. All you need to do was destroy the live action shit and then take the animated stuff and make the animated stuff into live action. James Gunn whole thing is like, oh, I want the voice actors to be the live action people. I'm like, okay, so why not just get the voice actors to play the live action characters?
Well, you can't do that with every character. Let's not. Just like
Yeah, no. Yeah, I guess. I guess.
So listen, as much as I would like to see Mark Hamill play the Joker, I think it's a little late now. Man.
Well, even then, now he has a clean slate. Now he can take any voice actor for the Joker and bring them live action. Yes, I'm including the Batman Joker because I would love to see that live action.
Well, we've already seen a black one, so I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm. Mm. I don't know. Go ahead.
I said with our luck, we'll get a whole Batwoman scenario again. Is that what you want?
No. We don't talk about Bruno. No. God, they fucked that up. No. Ruby Rose, I blame Ruby Rose for that shit.
Oh, God.
I hands down will forever blame her for that shit. All she needed to do was follow the fucking train, CJ. That's what that was. That's all. That's all it was. She wasn't able to handle the pressure of being a main character because all she ever did was play a fucking support character. I'm sorry. Have you ever seen Ruby Rose play a main character in anything other than Batwoman? I haven't.
Nope. Not that I can think of.
Nothing. John Wick, support character, dies. Fuck. What else? I mean, she's most memorable. To me, she's most memorable for John Wick. As I don't care, as gorgeous as she is, as very active as she is, as Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that she's a bad actor in any way, shape, or form. I think she's actually a pretty dope actor.
Interesting.
But even then, how many in any of her other how many times does she actually talk? In John Wick, she was fucking mute. And
Well, I think you're reaching now. All right, that's a little.
she was. Am I wrong? She was mute in John Wick.
My,
Like, I'm not wrong. She was mute in John Wick, right?
right, you're right.
She had no lines. All she did was play with her fingers. Shut up. Shut up. I'm gonna keep going. just gonna, we're just gonna walk. We're just gonna walk past that thought.
Listen, you're
Ooh.
right now. You know how the podcast gets, especially later in the show. So you're walking some real thin ice right now, Mr. Man.
Oh, you know exactly where I was about to go with that one. Oh man. Whoo, I had to catch myself on that one. Ooh, sorry. Sorry, kids. I'm in a bit of a villain arc. Oh, but makes sense. That's all I'm gonna say on that one. Makes sense.
The poo incident. See if he was in there.
But yeah. Man, I just feel like I feel like what needs to happen is, Milestone getting their full rights back for Static and doing it themselves. Personally, I feel like that's the only way that the character's gonna be. That's the only way the character's really gonna be done correctly and done right. You know what I mean? If it's done by the actual creators themselves. And I would love to see Milestone get to that level when they can bring their own characters to life without the help of any outside source that's going to look to, build an agenda into the character, build an agenda into the show or movie or whatever. Because again, that's what's heavy these days. Motherfucking agendas.
Listen, now hold on, because we could agree that we're not against every rewrite. I'm not even against sometimes changing the character's race, but if once again, like you said, if it's not broke, don't fix it. If all you do is follow the material, which everyone loves, I have never once heard someone go, "Yo, fuck Static Shock. I'm not a fan of Static Shock."
Right? I feel like that is for two reasons. One, because he's not as popular as he fucking should be. Because aside, what else have you ever seen Static Shock in besides Static Shock, his brief cameos in Young Justice, and then his brief cameo in Justice League Unlimited when they went back in time?
Nothing.
Like nothing. And I guess them giving you the ability to build a Static Shock-esque character in DC Universe Online, which I do have a Static Shock style character in that game. God, they got to remaster that game. That game looks like shit now.
What'd you call them? Sparkles?
No. Actually, no. He looks pretty fucking legit, pretty fucking dope.
Did you actually call him Static?
But that's the weird thing. He's not actually in. He's not. I at least as long as I had played it, which I played it pretty for a pretty long time. I never ran into an actual to Static actually in the game.
But like you said, it might have been one of those things like where it's a copyright issue.
Yeah, but they give you the lightning abilities, which again I haven't seen Black Lightning in there either. You have the abilities. There's certain cosmetics or whatever that from Static that you can put on your characters on top of the abilities as well. You can even make your character fly around on like little like circular discs, which are more so supposed to be like what's his name, Mr. Miracle, I think his name is. Like
Yeah.
his like yeah his like he like when he moves he has a little disc underneath each foot that kind of help him levitate type shit. But yeah, like you can actually build a Static Shock character, but there's no Static Shock in the game. Again, probably because of rights issues and shit like that. But again, yeah, those are the two reasons why you don't hear anyone say "fuck Static." I don't like Static because they haven't really been exposed to Static the same way they've been exposed to Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, fucking even Hawkman and Hawkwoman. I know. I call her Hawk Girl. I call her woman. She's a fucking woman, especially if you've seen her in Justice League. That's a fucking woman.
Okay. Dial it there. Take a breath.
But yeah, no, yeah. I just feel like they haven't been exposed to Static the way that
I like chicken wings.
at least I would like there.
Poultry. I'm there. You think what you call correct?
But yeah, they just there has not been enough Static exposure, and that's why I feel like we don't hear oh Static Shock sucks, but also we don't hear oh I love Static as well. Those who are really like in depth with their knowledge and appreciate. Ooh. My bad, my apologies. And those who like appreciate comics and shit like that, who are really in depth, they know about Static. They know about Static. They want to see Static. But mainstream, it's wild because Static has been around since the '90s, since slightly before the '90s and shit like that. Yet he's still not mainstream yet.
4 years.
Mm-hmm. And why is that? Why is it? And that now that's a question that really needs to be that's a question that really needs to be posed as well. Why is it that we have a young black superhero that's been around since the '90s, before the '90s, that is not mainstream, and he's not mainstream yet?
You know why it is power.
Why?
Because Virgil Hawkins is not taking it in the rectum, nor is he getting on his knees for corporate America.
Virgil Hawkins is that type of character to look Amanda Waller in her face and tell her to go eat a pussy.
He'll be on some crowd. Oh my God. Oh.
You couldn't even recover from that. You couldn't even recover from that.
I was going more Chris Tucker push the button, but okay.
But for like older Virgil Hawkins, as we've seen him in the Flash Forward episode of Justice League Unlimited, when they get where who is it? It's Bruce, John
And Diana.
and who else and Diana get thrown into the future where they end up meeting old Bruce Wayne from Batman Beyond. I believe they meet Terry
You do.
McGinnis. They meet Shira, who was also Hawk Girl, Hawk Woman. And John Stewart's son. What's his name? Ironhawk.
Warhawk.
Warhawk. And an older Static who looks like an absolute fucking savage. Looking, his locks are all gray. He has like the fucking gray beard and everything. He's older. Yeah, that Virgil Hawkins, he was wasn't with he was with the fucking smoke.
Mm-hmm.
All right, listen, how we gonna do this? We gonna do this way, you gonna do this, that, blah blah blah, this and that. All right, okay, bet, copy, say less. That's what we're gonna do.
He was also like on Magneto type level where he was ridiculously powerful. And that's another thing too. Static can manipulate magnetism and electromagnetic fields. So it's like he has such raw power that he was hailed as one of the strongest members of the Justice League by the time he was an adult. So it's like the fuck, but the potential that they claim that he had and the shit that he could do, it's like for them to be like, oh yeah, well he's this guy, but even if they were to redo like the Justice League, like the animated cartoon, and put him as like the new founding member, like he's the new rookie on the team.
That would be dope. That would definitely be dope. Because the Batman that is in that episode of Static Shock is from the animated series. It's all connected. Static Shock, Batman animated series, Superman animated series, Justice League Unlimited, and Batman Beyond. They're all connected. They're all within the same universe.
What's he going to teach him about?
What was that?
I said, what is he going to teach him? Prep time?
Organization, maybe. Organization, how to not deal with mental and emotional trauma.
How to get small children to wear colorful costumes, going to get them killed and replace them.
Oh no! Oh, oh my God! How to trauma bond with an emotionally unstable child. Your parents died? Mine did too. Oh, maybe we could do this together and put each other in absolute mortal peril and danger every fucking night for the rest of our lives. Here, let me show you how to not deal with their mental issues. Maybe you can have your own clown arch nemesis as well. I feel like Bruce was just so lonely. He was just so fucking lonely. He needed somebody to play with.
Whoa.
Not like that. We're not even going there. I wasn't even going there. That's where you were at. No, I wasn't even going there, but
suspect. I don't know.
If the tights fit. If the tights fit. I'm just saying. Alfred was accomplice. He was an accomplice. Alfred saw what was going on. He saw what was going on. Yeah, he was wide open, like, hey, Bruce, this kid's gone through some shit just like you, bro. I think it'll be a good idea. You know what I mean? He agreed with Bruce. Bruce was like, oh yeah, I think I should take this kid under my wing. And because my parents were killed, his parents was killed, and Alfred went right along with the shit. Like, oh yeah, Bruce, that's a great idea. That is a great idea.
Hmm.
Oh no. Oh god.
What?
Terramana's kicking in.
Oh God.
Yeah, because I was just sitting there thinking, I'm like, damn. Bruce Wayne. Mm.
What?
You know the difference between Bruce Wayne and Michael Jackson?
What?
One wears tights and the other doesn't.
Uh-huh. Well, Michael
That's the only difference.
Michael thought of himself as Peter Pan. He might have had tights.
Oh shit, you're right, actually. You're right. You absolutely right.
Said, "Don't you climb trees?" No, motherfucker, we got bills and shit.
Oh god. But the similarities are uncanny. They're both super fucking rich. They both had fucking parental issues and parental trauma. They both hung out with kids all day and all night. I guess the only difference is one fought crime and one.
Go ahead.
One fought crime and one. I'd say Michael tried to promote planetary peace.
On that note, we're gonna shine over to something a little different. So, where would you like to see the character go in the future?
Again, like I said, I would like to see live action, but I have a strong feeling that they wouldn't be able to pull it off properly, at least where they're at right now. With the change of regime over at DC, Milestone not necessarily having the backing in order to do it themselves yet. Probably also in the middle of a fight, in the middle of a copyright fight, whatever. Um, I would like live action, but if we don't get live action, I would love to see a revamped Static Shock animated series. Or, since they're kind of redoing their animated, you know, their animated universe, which they really shouldn't.
Now, hold on. When
But
you say animated, do you mean more? Oop. Can you still hear me?
Hmm?
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, okay, so when you say animated, do you mean more like Naruto, like with the American anime, or do you mean like the way they were doing it before?
Oh, no, yeah. Like cartoon wise, like animated, not anime, but animated. Like if they were to do another Static Shock TV show type, style, um, but more so, I'd say like introduce him within something else first, and then have it branch off into his own thing. Because I don't feel like the world's ready for another Static Shock TV series, and I also feel like my only problem with that is I feel like it's one, it's not going to be the same, which it shouldn't be the same. Times have changed. The social injustice that's going on within our community is different. Our climate is changed. Our climate is different. And for the people watching, yeah, our climate is different. It's definitely changed. Um, so for everyone watching, I would definitely love to see a more modern Static Shock, I'd say. Um, if y'all have any other ideas, if you guys feel like maybe it should be done differently, we would definitely love to hear it. Please drop it down in the comments. Y'all already know that this podcast is gonna be on YouTube. It's gonna be up on YouTube. You guys can watch it over if you missed it. Um, But yeah, I know that's just where I would like it to go. Again, we are most definitely interested in hearing your ideas. Where where the public and where our community would like to see him go. I'm definitely down for that. So yeah, I don't know. That's just where I want to go. That's just where I would like to see it. Um, so I don't know if you heard True Ash, but I was just telling our viewers that I would like to see it done animated. To be honest, I would like to see it done. Um, s- uh, my only problem where is like I feel like they would whoever does it is gonna probably if it's not Milestone, if Milestone doesn't do it, whoever does it is gonna drop a lot of agenda in there.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, which is where my problem comes in. Which if that's the case, I rather than just leave him alone and just leave it as is. But if they're gonna do it and they're gonna do it right, I would like to see him animated again. Of course, I would love to see him live action. I just don't feel like it may not translate, over properly. So might as well just keep him animated. I would like to see them modernize it like they did with the comic books.
But I'm
Because
confused to what.
times have changed.
But I'm confused to why it wouldn't work. Like they have all the tools, like you said, all they have to do is just follow the material. For example, look what just happened with Avatar.
Yeah, but again, Avatar, this new this Netflix thing for Avatar, it's only working because it had the original creators involved with it. Look what happened when M. Night Shyamalan. He tried to do his own thing. It didn't
And
work.
I still don't understand why. Like that was just he was just pissing into the wind, hoping not to get wet. I was so confused.
Yeah. It wasn't just the story that didn't make sense. That was like all out of order. It was everything about that movie that was bad. The pronunciation of the names, the way the characters looked, the way the bending looked. Oh, please don't get me started. We don't talk about that, Bruno. Um, that shit goes right along in a pile with Dragon Ball Evolution. It never happened. Um, but the only reason why this live action Avatar looks as good as I'm gonna say looks because I haven't seen it. We haven't seen it yet. We don't know if it's actually going to be good. But it only looks this good because the original creators of Avatar were a part of it. Although they didn't stay a part of it, because they didn't like the fact that Netflix wanted to take some liberties with it, so they backed out. And now they're doing their own thing on Nickelodeon. They're gonna have their own Avatar universe, and there's gonna be like a whole animated movie that's gonna be doing with Nick.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, the only reason why this Avatar looks so good, is because the original creators had anything to do with it. That's why if they're gonna do it live action, if they're gonna do it animated, I'd rather have Milestone do it rather than I feel like if anyone else does it, there's gonna be an agenda pushed. They're gonna focus more on the agenda than they are gonna be on the character and his story. Um, if Milestone does it, they're definitely gonna modernize it to keep it with the times, to keep it with the level of social injustices that are going on now, rather than the injustices that were going on back then. Because times have definitely changed a lot in the last 2 decades, 3
Hmm.
decades. Um, I don't know. That's just that. I don't know. That's just me. That's the way I would like to see it go. How about you?
Honestly, I would like to see it be more modern day anime.
Mm, okay. So would you say like anime, how they translated X-Men over into anime?
Yes.
Okay, I see that because that the X-Men anime was actually pretty good. The Blade anime was pretty good.
Like give it a certain
So,
level of grit. Like I'm not saying they didn't have people shooting each other in the throat, but give it a certain level of grit. Let it be dark at times. Let there be true life lessons and gems getting dropped. Sort of like the 2003 Ninja Turtles or like the original Teen Titans. Like you can do that certain level of grit and keep it honest to the source material and still have the fan service.
I most definitely agree. I most definitely agree. You can, but the question is, will they?
We can hope if they did it. We can
That
hope.
that's all we can really do is that we can only hope. Um, because honestly, I don't trust Warner Brothers as far as I can fucking throw them.
Look, listen, man. I think it's one of them things like where I don't necessarily believe it's truly Warner Brothers. I believe it's one of those though. I believe it's one of those things like where if the script is shit, the script is shit. Like we all agree. Anyone who's been asked that original Wonder Woman is a fucking classic. Spot on. Totally golden.
Well, the first Wonder Woman one with Gale.
Yes.
Okay, because you said the original, so I was thinking all way back.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, the first Wonder Woman was fucking I agree was gold.
Now, I don't remember hearing no complaints that it was overly violent or anything like that. I don't feel like it was necessarily misogynistic or she was a bit of a feminist, yes, but it's like it wasn't over the top in my opinion. And then you look at the
Oh,
next
I
one,
agree. Oh my god, yeah, the next one went they went really hard.
and I get it, they
Um,
wanted it to have it like an 80s feel to it, but like it just became fucking goofy.
yeah, I also just feel like Wonder Woman ain't really got villains like that.
Well, but here's my thing, and this is like the issue we have with Superman. They have villains, but the villains have to fit into the context of the issue. Like the whole thing with Barbara wanting to be like her and then having her like her strength and her speed, and then she said she wants to be more, she wants to be the top of the food chain. Like
She
they
wants to be
had
the
to make
apex predator.
yeah, they had to make that character fit into that story, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, I most definitely I definitely agree. So how would they do that with characters like Ebon and the rest of the Bane babies?
Well, my whole thing is like Virgil's whole thing was like he had a strong if he had a real strong stance on gang violence or gang culture, you could have it so like that was something he had to deal with. Like say, all right, let's just be this is just me spitballing. Say like Virgil actually was involved in the incident. Say like E Bomb's crew, whatever. And this is another thing too that never made sense to me because you only see E Bomb after the initial bang. He's never seen before it.
Ah, that is true.
So it's like if he was someone that Virgil had an issue with or Virgil had sided with, he might feel responsible for him. Like if I had
Wait,
just walked,
do we ever see Wade again?
I can't remember honestly.
Do they never show who Ebon really is?
Like I don't remember that at all. I just remember him just showing up one
Yeah.
day and he was that nigga.
Yeah. So
So
the only way that would make sense to me is if Ebon was Wade.
yeah, you could do it that way and have it be like, yo, he's my responsibility. Like I subconsciously created this monster. I didn't mean to do this shit, and this is what happened. Like if I had just walked away, but I didn't. So here, this is what I have to deal with. Or it could be one of those things, like he said, because he's a bang baby and he has the power to do something about it. And it's like not all of them have to be gang members. Like, what was it, Rubber Band Man? Like he was an actual, he was a musician, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And like the dude stole the tried to like steal his music. So that. Like you could have someone who actually had a legitimate power that was just completely out of their control. That was completely devastating. And then it's like, you know,
yeah, in the first few episodes we did with Derek, and like, you know, he wasn't a criminal. He was he was, you know, he ran track. He was a track star that ended up getting these powers that just mutated him, and it wasn't a part of his, and he just got sucked into the wrong crowd. So, and then in turn, what he ends up doing when Virgil does get him back into reason, you know, he's like, oh, I want to do what I can in order to help the situation. And he allows himself to be experimented on in order to find a way, a cure for the mutagen.
Right. And then let's not forget Alva and everything that he was doing, because he's the one that was technically responsible for this. They could tie Hardware in there because like Hardware worked for him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
okay,
like,
okay, here we go. Who would you have? Who would you have play the villain, Alva?
Okay, so if I had to pick someone to play Alva, Matthew McConaughey.
Ooh. Ooh. I like that. Oh shit! Yeah, wow, bro, you just took the cake with that one. I can't really think of anyone else. Um, hmm. I would say so. The way I'm looking at it is, I'm like, all right, who's an actor that would be able to just portray a character that just completely doesn't care about his actions, and or at least the ramifications of his actions on the greater people, and who's only worried about their own selfish bottom line. I'd have to say he probably wouldn't fit the the visual as well as McConaughey would be able to, but I'd say Leo.
But
I say Leonardo DiCaprio, just based, and I'm basing this off of his you know, his performance in Django.
Steve, my boy, this is
Exactly. Yeah, I basing off of his performance in Django, I would say that has an he has the ability to play a character that really doesn't give a shit about anybody else but himself.
what I want to know is who was that up on that nag?
Again, I feel like he wouldn't fit the visual, or maybe they could work something out. But yeah, no. But overall, no. I feel like, yeah, Matthew McConaughey would definitely be great. Would definitely be fucking great. But no, like, yeah, it's just, if they do it, they got to do it right. It has to be done right. It has to, yes, modernize it 100%. I get that. I want to be mad at the modernization of that, whether it be the social issues that they're going through, because that was a big part of Static, was the social issues that they were that they were going through. That's what all the messages were really about in that show, or about the societal issues that they were going through.
Very true. And one of the sad truths is, you know, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Exactly. And that they, I just wanted to make sense. You know what I mean? The reason for Virgil to be doing what he's doing needs to come from a moral standpoint and not just from I got the power, I'm a use it. More so of holy shit, there's some shit going on in my city. I have the power. I love my city and I have the power. I'm going to make it take a stand. I'm gonna make a difference. You know, not the whole great power comes great responsibility idea necessarily, but more so that of a selfish standpoint of I love my city and I want my people to do better and be better. So I'll be that role model for them.
Mm-hmm.
You got Superman who, it'd be like Superman could easily be like, oh, you know, I'm gonna just protect Metropolis and Smallville. That's where I'm from. But no, he chooses to help the overall world. You got Batman. He's more so like Batman. Nah, Gotham's my shit. I'm gonna do what I can to save Gotham first, and then I worry about everything else after the fact. But so yeah, I feel like more so of that standpoint. I need to take care of Dakota first. Are you gonna help me, or somebody? Hey, can you help us out? Take care of this supervillain over here. I'm in the middle of something. You help me first, and then I'll help you. Type shit. Um, I mean, if that makes sense.
I mean, nah, it does, but it's also one like he'd have like not I don't want to say quid pro quo, but it's one of those things like they like Green Arrow said like I only help the little guys. I don't deserve to be up here on Mount Olympus with the rest of these superpowered beings. And then like Batman was like I used to think like that too, except those monsters that you don't fight, they tend to step on little guys.
Yeah, and I feel like that would end up being his transition into being like an overall superhero, maybe like joining the league and stuff like that. But first and foremost, we need to see Virgil taking care of Dakota, taking care of his people, or take care of his city before we see him on the bigger scale, in the grander scheme of things, which I would definitely like to see him do.
Mm.
But first I need to see Virgil taking care of Virgil, type shit. You know what I mean?
Let's just see
I
if
don't
he can
know.
get through senior year first before he does anything.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's just see him go through his life, get through senior year, graduate, while also having to overcome these hurdles of his secret identity, overcome the hurdles of balancing hero life with school life, while also knowing these people personally, because Hot Streak, he knows Hot Streak personally. You know what I mean?
He
And
did.
now he has to face him on a different level. It's like hanging out with people that you work with outside of work. It's like, all right, oh, whoa, 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 you know what I mean? I know you from work, but now I know you personally and shit like that. It's two different worlds. See, having to look at Hot Streak as Hot Streak and not what the fuck did they call him? Something stop,
F stop.
H stop, S stop. You know what I mean? Not no, not combating him as Virgil, but now this kid that he's probably grew up with. You know what I mean? They probably went to grade school together as well, going into high school. This kid that he's seen that he's grew up with. Now he has to face him not as Virgil, but as Static and Hot Streak. You know what I mean? So I would like to see that level of turmoil going back and forth. I'll be honest, like we don't really see that, even though we're going through this whole young Spider-Man phase with Tom Holland, we don't really get to see the struggle. I feel like Tom Holland Spider-Man does not struggle between being Peter Parker and Spider-Man nearly as much as Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield.
He doesn't.
Quick little side tangent, yeah.
But that's like I said before, that was my issue because they want to make him this wannabe Robin, opposed to letting him just shine as the character he's supposed to be.
Exactly. Because last time I checked, in original Spider-Man, he didn't have any mentor besides, his teachings from Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
He did it all on his fucking own. He was a self-made hero.
Now he's got a guy in a chair and he's swinging around the city with Happy Hogan looking over him, and nah.
Oh, well, technically, all right. So whatever they're about to do with Tom Holland Spider-Man now, that's how he is now. He has no man in a chair. He has no Tony Stark. He's completely on his own now. But again, him learning to be a hero, Virgil did that all on his own. Until later on when he started meeting characters like Anansi, Batman, Green Lantern, the rest of the league and shit like that. He became a hero on his own with help from someone who had no powers, again, at the beginning. He had to fight with, shit, I'm in the middle of a battle with Ebon, but I got to be home for dinner in 30 minutes. And act like everything's all fine and dandy, so my pops don't know. So I know eventually his sister finds out.
His dad does too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, his dad, but eventually, like that's like later season. So it's like 3, 4, maybe the ending of 2. No, the ending of 2, his sister finds out, and then later on, his dad finds out. And even then, as you see, his dad's against Static in the beginning. He's like, yeah, that's cool and everything, but like, Static, all this Bane Baby stuff, it's new. Static himself doesn't even know how his powers work, how his powers came to be, or if his powers are going to continue to evolve, if he's going to become a danger later on down the line. So his father necessarily wasn't pro-Static to begin with either. So now he's fighting with that, like, damn, my dad don't like. It's like the Spider-Man syndrome. He finds out that Gwen Stacy's dad doesn't like Spider-Man at all.
He's like, yeah, like you don't fuck with me, like shit.
Yeah. So he has to play that balance of being the good boyfriend, but also being Spider-Man at the same time. You know what I mean? He has to get Urfala to love Peter Parker while he also hates Spider-Man when they're one and the same. So that's something I would love to see if they were to redo it animated or if they were to bring him live action. Those are the certain staples that we need to see. We need to see that trials and tribulations of being young and being a superhero at the same time while fighting with the duality of I need to be Virgil Hawkins, high school student and son, and also be Static Shock, hero to Dakota.
I agree. Well said.
While only being like 16, 17.
Well said.
Thank you. Yeah, so that's just how I would like to see it go. But overall, I believe both of our consensus comes down to there's certain pillars within the character, certain principles of the character that they need to make sure they do justice. Because if not, he's not Static Shock. He's just another black superhero with lightning powers.
Lord knows we
Which
have
again, they need to do away
enough
with
of
that
them as
shit.
there is.
Exactly. Exactly. We got enough of that. We got enough of that. But with that being said, that was the first episode of our new season of the Super Breakdown. We got a lot more coming for you guys for Black History Month. We got a lot more. We got Killmonger coming up. We got the Black Queen superheroes, Black Super Queens going on this month as well. Stay tuned throughout the month. We're going to be, we'll be, stay tuned to our Instagram and our Facebook. We'll be dropping shorts, giving small little, Black superhero trivia and knowledge for certain things that not a lot of people know, or certain things that we would like people to know or talk more about. And it's Black History Month. Support your Black content creators. Support your Black owned and operated comic book companies. Shout out to Concrete Comics. Shout out to Sweet Pea Comics. Shout out to Midnight Comics. There's a lot, and we're going to be putting a lot of them on display this month. So please keep an eye out for these amazing young Black content creators, comic book creators, story writers, artists. It's Black History Month. Let's make history. Could I get a hallelujah to that one?
Google Calabunga.
Google. Exactly. As always, I'm your host, the Red Wolf himself, Power Maximus, and we are always here with everyone's favorite arachnid demigod, Lord Triage. Check us out. Pay attention. YouTube, Kick, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook. We're on everything but Twitter or air quote X. Follow us. We love you. Until next time, remember, fuck prep time.
Fuck prep time. And if anyone ever steps to you, you put a shock to their system.
Booyah.